What's going on? All the way from, how are the people in Greece?
They're okay, I guess.
You like the Greek food? Huh?
Not really.
So now what? Did you become an Arab? You were Greek, now did you becoming a Muslim?
You think I have the ability to change my DNA? I mean, what do you think this is?
So you're a Greek Muslim.
Yes.
Is that's like, you know, hey, amazing. Are there a lot of Greek Muslims in, not people who've descended from other places, but people from Greece accepting this way of life?
Yeah, and it's growing. There's Greek organizations that are Islamic and they're calling people to Islam, and we have some masajid, and people are calling to this beautiful way of life.
How are you now? How did you get to where you're at now? You were a background, what, Christian?
Christian stroke, humanist stroke, secular.
So you were just, it was a big buffet.
Cocktail. It was a buffet, man.
It was a buffet, okay.
It was a buffet.
And so tell us a little about yourself before Islam.
Okay, well, my name is Andreas. That was my name, Andreas Dzordzis. And I was born in London in England. My dad is from Athens, but originally from northwest Greece. My mom is from the Greek part of Cyprus. She came to England because of the 1974 invasion, the Turkish invasion of 1/3 of the island. So my parents met and I came about. And I was brought up in an area called Hackney. It's equivalent to the Bronx at that time. Hackney was a bit of a ghetto, rough area. We used to live in these block of flats based in a ditch. Like, for example, we were on the second floor, and the second floor was in line with the ground. So this is the kind of environment I was brought up in. And it wasn't easy. There was some drugs in the environment, gangs, Chinese gangs, especially the triads.
You were in a Chinese gang?
I was, yeah. I was in 14K.
Okay.
14K. There was like Wuxing War and 14K. I was in 14K. These were these trousers with these stars on them and all these symbols. We used to carry like choppers in our bags.
Yeah.
But, you know, I wasn't heavily involved. I was always still a really good kid. I was very compassionate. My dad brought me up in a very compassionate way, always talking about love and compassion and stuff. But, you know, you could be a product of your environment sometimes. So that was the kind of upbringing and kind of environment. Although I was quite an intelligent kid as well at the same time. So I was in two worlds. I think many kids have that issue as well. They got good family background, compassion, love, they're intelligent, but they want to conform to society. And all children want to do this. They want to conform, and this is how social norms are developed in society, by human beings wanting to conform. We want to be certain. We don't want to be alienated. That's why Islam teaches you to be a leader, to be a shepherd, not the sheep. So you bring your flock, and this is even in our community in Chicago, wherever we are, that we have a distinct character because we worship the Creator, not the creation. If that's the case, you'd be distinct, and everyone wants to follow you, not you follow them. But unfortunately, I didn't have that Islamic background because I wasn't brought up as a Muslim. And so that was my kind of environment.
How old were you around that time?
Well, it was from the age of 14 to 19.
14. So what happened at that age of 14, 15? You're going along life, you know, you're just doing what normal kids are doing, music, you know, movies,
yeah, I mean,
gangs.
I was a bit unique though as well because my dad would take me to like the Royal School of Music and then classical guitar. I used to know how to read and write music as well. I used to learn Chinese, Mandarin, Ni Hen Piao Liang. I said, you're very pretty.
So you,
mashallah,
you speak Chinese?
No, I used to learn it for a year, and then after, when I became Muslim, I stopped, and I went to go into other studies. But I was dabbling into Chinese, different cultures. I was into Kung Fu, Wing Chun Kung Fu, Shaolin, still Wire Mantis, yeah? So I was very cultural at the same time. So it was like almost a double life or a triple life I was leading. And, you know, women and stuff like that. So I was a confused kid. I didn't know who I was from that perspective. But I always had a good respect for traditions like Buddhism and Islam. And I used to read around these things quite a lot, even at a young age.
So how does Islam fit in? Did you meet a Muslim? Did you read something on the internet? How were you seeking guidance? Because a lot of the people we talk to will ask them, have you ever asked God for guidance? Because we believe if you ask the Creator for guidance, He'll facilitate a way.
I'll get to that.
So were you like, okay, did she break your heart? Was the nightclubs getting played out? Did the other gang kid beating up on you, or did you like get to a point where you're like, I'm just sick of everything? What was it?
Well, I'll tell you what it is. I always wanted to know truth. My dad said to me, always have an open mind, read every tradition. So when I was at high school, I used to have a Muslim friend. He came from Bangladesh, and he was such a nice guy. He was very distinct. He was a cool guy, but he wouldn't muck about with women. He would honor women. He would honor human beings. He would be very distinct. His principles won't change. They won't waver just to look good. And for me, I found that so attractive. And I wanted to be like him. So he was introducing me to Islam very slowly. He gave me this booklet called Faith in Progress by this brother called Jamal Howard, right? And it was about that God exists, that you got to think, reflect, because the Quran teaches you to think and reflect. It doesn't just have blind faith. Think, أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ? Do you not use your intellect, your mind? وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ?
This is the verbatim word of God, the Quran.
Yes, it's the verbatim word of God. وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ?
And you're not quoting it in Arabic.
It is Arabic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're Greek,
yes,
and you've learned Arabic also.
Well,
you're quoting the original. Like the reason I'm bringing this up, if you wanted to follow, let's say you're a Christian wanting to follow, let's say the original teaching of Jesus, you can't. You don't have the original.
You don't. No,
you don't see someone quoting Aramaic.
Yes, you
or
don't.
You don't see that.
Of course
but
not.
You're quoting the original verbatim word of God in its original text, right?
Yes. This is why Professor Angelica Newirth, in the Cambridge Companion to the Quran, she says the Quran we have today in Arabic is the same as we had 1400 years ago.
So continue, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Right. So,
amazing.
God says in the Quran, which means, and in themselves do they not see. The Quran uses the word يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, which means for those who reflect. Now this doesn't mean any type of reflecting like, oh, you have a nice beard, Eddie. I like your gel. The way your hair moves. You're a handsome guy, man. Not that kind of reflecting. This reflection is the thing that you're reflecting upon, you must think about its implications. What does it mean? What does it mean? Quran wants you to think. It doesn't mean to be blind. That's why it says, are you going to follow your forefathers, even if they were based on falsehood? So this small booklet was a fascinating booklet. It opened my mind to something. I was like, wow, I thought religions were all about blind faith. I thought religions were about not searching the truth and just believing in your heart. But Islam is so unique. It's believing in your heart, understanding is part of your nature, but also it agrees with the mind. And that's the beautiful thing about Islam. So that started me off, although I didn't become a Muslim. So what happened was I went to university to study psychology. So studying psychology, and I was the kind of guy that I was a bit rough on the edges. I was a nice guy, like my dad, you know. I wanted to copy my dad, and my dad would help everybody. So my friends would say to me, we have a dissertation to do, we have to give it in, it's the last day, a few more hours left, few more minutes left, can I copy your conclusion? And I was a nice guy, I said, take it, copy it. What happens? University finds out. I get in trouble. They get in trouble. I have to start the year again. This was the second year. I was upset. I had to take one module again. I sat in the tribunal, if you like. I said, I didn't copy anybody. They copied me. I'm telling you, this is my spelling mistake. This is the way I write. And they knew that, but they had to be fair and said, look, everyone goes, because you gave them your work. So what happened was, I took a year out and I started working as a project officer to become a project manager. So I was working in the British government, I was working for the police IT organization at the time, I was learning more about project management, I was given a lot of money to do a lot of project management training, so I entered in that kind of office environment. And then I was still reading more about Islam, but Christmas came, and we went to a boat party. And what happened at that boat party was basically a small milestone to change the rest of my life.
From a boat party?
From a boat party. So I'll tell you about the boat party maybe after the break.
After the break, okay. So don't go nowhere. We want to know about this boat party here with Hάμζα Τζόρτζις on the Deen Show.